And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owen, General Manager at WEIU. My co-host is Tristan Thomas.
Hello, hello.
And making a repeat appearance, Ed Dowd from the Mattoon Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, hello. Great to be here.
Yeah, glad you could make it in today, Ed. And as we were talking about this Monday, lots of stuff going on at the Chamber, and I don't know where to start. But I think I want to start with you hiring a friend of everybody, and we were hoping she could be here today, Carolyn Cloyd.
Yes.
Talk about how that all transpired.
Yeah, I was so lucky. Actually, it was funny. Jerry Groninger had mentioned that, hey, you should contact Carolyn Cloyd because my assistant who I had started her own business. I was super happy for her. She's doing phenomenal. And, I said, oh, Carolyn, I couldn't get her. There's no way. And I just called her, and said, hey, this guy's going to be keeping bugging me about, asking if you want to come here. And she said, you know what, maybe I do. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And it worked out, and I'm just so thrilled. Carolyn had been with United Way for 17 years, and she did a phenomenal job, has so many connections in the community, such a good person, and just thrilled to be able to get her as my assistant. So very exciting.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Other than the United Way is probably not happy with
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that because the board of directors, I was like, afraid to get to my car because they'd come after me. But luckily, they hired a new gal from Charleston, Kennedy, and I can't remember her last name, but she seems to be doing well, so I'm very happy for them as well.
That's awesome.
So it's great.
The other thing you wanted to touch base on in some more detail is that for the Mattoon in Motion, Alex Banishek. Tell us the story there and what we can expect to see from Alex.
Yeah, so as we've talked about before, Carlos Ortega was our Peace Corps fellow back in 2017, and he did a phenomenal job with us, started Elevate CCIC Inc., which is running strong, and he is now the executive director there. That program worked so well, and he did such a great job that they said, you know what? We said we could maybe use another Peace Corps fellow because what we're trying to do is we're trying to find ways. We want Mattoon to be a place, a destination, a place where people want to come work, live, play, and raise a family. And the gentleman we have has worked in community development and things like that, Alex, and we're so excited to have him. He comes and works with us for 11 months, and it's basically, he's Mattoon in Motion. We have him work on projects and things to better our community, and it's just a phenomenal relationship, and he's already done wondrous things for us, so we can't be more thrilled to have him.
Yeah, so what are some of the other major focuses of the Chamber at this time of the year?
This time of the year, a lot of the focuses are, again, on, as you guys know, probably everywhere, employment. Unemployment or underemployment is what I call it, not unemployment. We have so many businesses. Every single day I have a business come in and say, you know what, I need help. Get me some help. What can I do? So what we're working on is trying to come up with innovative ways to create opportunities for people. We're looking at even incentive packages. A lot of communities now are giving incentive packages to people who are willing to come work in their community, live and play, and they give up to $10,000 in incentives, which includes tax abatement, dinners at local restaurants, things like that. And we're trying to figure out creative ways to do that. The other thing we're trying to do is, of course, it's great to be able to recruit people from your community, but what we want to do is also, we have so much local talent here from EIU, people like yourself, people from Lakeland, even people from high school. Why don't we keep those people here? It should be a no-brainer. It should be easier to do that maybe than even to recruit people from other areas. So those are the kind of things we're trying to do to help our businesses and our members be successful.
Now, who would pay for like a $10,000 stay in Mattoon scholarship or whatever you want to call it?
Very good question. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to come up with ways with grants. The city, of course, both cities right now, they have such pension debt that it's really tough for them to come up with these packages. So we're looking at grant opportunities. We're looking at some of the larger businesses who need these people, who are paying a lot of money already to have these people come in and work in their places. Maybe they can, support something like this. So we're trying to find, again, innovative ways to do that, to fund it. So
the other thing we were talking about, the Alex Banishek, the Peace Corps person, that he's working on a project about a better city for pets or something.
Yeah,
we have Mars, and Mattoon has a new dog park coming, maybe. So,
yes.
Can you talk about both those things?
Yes, Mars, of course, is I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we are their biggest plant. In Mattoon is their biggest plant for dog food manufacturing in all of North America. Pretty impressive. And they're saying, you know what? The people at the plant says, you know, we need to be able to promote that locally. So they had us apply for a grant, and we are now one of their better cities for pets. Now, what's great about this is we can say, a lot of tourists look at their site and say, you know what, this is a great place to visit. Or a lot of people who are pet friendly want to come to a town that is better city for pets. So we really got a program together, and we're working on different ways. We have a lot of businesses who welcome pets into their shops. Of course, Rural King, De Beers, Feed and Seed, a lot of businesses do that. So there's a lot of different aspects to it. And this, again, is a great thing for tourism and for, you know, a reason why people might want to live here. To your point about the dog park, by the end of this year, knock on wood, I think it'll be up and running in Mattoon. And it's going to be gorgeous. They have a small dog park area and a large dog park area. And Mars is funding, they're going to be the biggest funder of the large park dog park area. So, again, great relationship with Mars. And, you know, again,
And
we
where
want
will
to
that
really
be
promote
again?
that. It's going to be off of Old State Road and 12th, kind of behind where Sunrise Apartments in that area.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great location, and we're just really excited that it's coming to our
And there's no
community.
public funds being used. That's all private, is that right? Or
It's
private
all,
orbit? Yeah.
it's all privately raised. The land, though, is the city's land.
Okay.
But they weren't using it for anything, so they are donating the land for the park. But it isn't like, you know, they're giving up anything that's going to cause any tax issues or anything. So.
Okay. Other chamber events. I know COVID has hit us all. We're still wearing masks here at Eastern today. Talk about, you know, is the COVID going to? There's a little bit of things happening out there where it's hopefully there's good news on the horizon. With COVID, will some of the annual events come back now? And can you tell us about that?
Yeah, real excited. Unfortunately, we had to postpone our annual dinner, which we usually have in February. And I know my counterpart, Doug Abelt from the Charleston Chamber, they had to postpone theirs. And we actually had to postpone a couple of our first after-hours events. You know, Chamber is about networking. One of the biggest things we do, we like to have members being able to network, you know, get out there, talk to each other, and things like that. It was kind of tough during the this COVID phase. So we're starting that up again next month, and we're going to have our annual dinner. It's coming up this spring. Our golf outing, we're excited to have that, June 24th. And then our big thing is our Business Expo and Taste of the Expo, which we're going to have October 13th. So real exciting.
Awesome. Well, can you break any news for us? Any new businesses coming to Mattoon?
Nothing that I can specifically say. I can tell you, and I know Jeff's talked about this a little bit, we are very, very close to filling the Penny's location. Rural King is very close, I should say, to filling the Penny's location. I think we'll have an announcement very soon. That's going to be exciting. Of course, Dunkin' Donuts is, I know it's been talked about for years.
We've been talking about that for 2 years.
Yeah, but I really think it's going to happen this
I
summer.
think by contract they have to start breaking land, right? Is that
Yes,
what I was
if they
told?
don't, they forfeit the property. So it almost be, and what people have to understand is, you know, why didn't they do it in this fall? Why didn't they? They're trying to wait because, as everyone knows, costs of materials are just so ridiculous now. I believe what they're doing is they're waiting till the costs come down a little bit. Hopefully they will, and they'll be able to build that. And again, of course, everyone knows that they're back up and running with the Hilton Garden Inn and Convention Center, which is going to be a great hotel. And as everyone knows, getting closer and closer to the sports complex, which will be huge for our community as well.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the sports complex because it was such big news, and now maybe the work's being done behind the scenes, so we're not hearing and seeing as much. So can you give us an update on where the city/chamber/Rural King is on this?
Yes, they are meeting weekly on that, and again, everything's behind the scenes. Of course, they can't make public announcements until they have the I's dotted and the T's crossed, of course. But they are working diligently behind the scene. I really think it's going to happen. You know, how many communities can say a private entity like Rural King donates 96 acres of prime real estate right on an interstate? You know, that alone was huge, and that's going to really, I think, put it over the top to make it happen.
And there's also the new coffee shop is going to open, right?
Yes, a new coffee shop.
I can't think of the name right now.
I forgot the name right now. In Mattoon, going to be exciting. You know, there's never enough coffee, at least for me. I don't know about you.
Mostly on Mondays.
You can never, Monday of all days, you can talk
Yeah.
about there's never enough coffee. So, yeah.
Okay. The Mats, you sent me an email a couple of weeks ago, and then there's a Mattoon movie connection about somebody who's doing some research. Just explain what's going on with that, because I know we got a lot of press, and it's kind of a neat story.
Yeah, so really interesting. We at the chamber, once in a while we get phone calls, you know, like everybody else does. Hey, you want your warranty renewed? You know, well, we got this phone call from a Craig Jordan Torillo. He's an actor out of Hollywood, and what he said was he is going to be portraying a person from Mattoon in an upcoming feature-length film. And I was like, wow, you know, how often does the chamber get a phone call like this? It was so exciting. So his name is Vert, and that's Vert Ennis Jr., and he lived in Mattoon most of his adult life. He passed away, unfortunately, in 2002 at Oddfellow Rebecca home. But his claim to fame is he was in the Company B it was, in Italy during World War II with Audie Murphy. Now, are you familiar with Audie Murphy?
I am not.
You're not.
War hero.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was the most decorated American soldier in U.S. history. So his claim to fame was he took on about 60 Germans with only a 50 caliber machine gun on a broken down tank, and was able to hold them off for hours until his troops could arrive. So just a famous gentleman, and Vert was in the company with him. They were both diminutive. Audie Murphy was only like 5'6", and I think Vert was about the same height. But he wanted to learn everything he could about Vert, you know, being in Mattoon, and he picked the wrong person, but he wanted to get the dialect of Mattoon and talk to some people from Mattoon who had lived there their whole lives, because he really wanted to do the right portrayal of him. So I'm so excited about it. The movie is going to be called Reveille. It's going to be coming out in a couple of years, but I guess he has a really big part in it. And it's funny, Carolyn Cloyd, who we talked about, she's a major military historian. She was able to track down Vert's son, which the people from the movie production company weren't. And so they're going to be talking and trying to work out all the details. So real exciting stuff.
Then when he called you, did he say Mattoon?
Yes, that was funny.
That's a winner. If he would have said Mattoon, we have to kick him out.
That's exactly what I told him. I said, you're already in the good graces because you pronounced it right. He goes, I learned that first thing.
That's awesome.
That's the test.
So we're looking forward to that.
That's a test. Yes, real exciting stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of your job is a lot of planning ahead and getting things set up for the future. Are these new opportunities you have in place with the sports complex and the hotel, are those helping you further in the future with, you know, saying to potential businesses, hey, we've got these two like major things coming that could, you know, open up more opportunities?
Absolutely. Very good question. Yes, we have, you know, we can tout how many different communities compared to us in regards to that, especially like the mall. You know, how many malls right now are struggling in towns where ours is actually doing very well? You know, once we get J.C. Penney's filled, we already have Marshall's, we already have Rural King there. So that's a really big incentive to try to recruit people to the community. And it's going to even be more helpful if we get that sports complex, because there's going to be so many retail opportunities, so many restaurant opportunities. National chains, you know, are already considering talking about it. There's already people who are wanting to purchase the land around there. So yeah, it's great to have all these things in the works, because it shows that Mattoon's growing, and it makes it more of an incentive for people. Very good question.
And I want to say what he said, is a future concern of yours, if all this happens, is there enough man/woman power to fill all those positions? Because you're talking about, I don't know, let's say 10 to 12 new businesses come to town over the next few years. I mean, right now there's a lot of hope wanted signs out. I mean, is there enough people?
You're dead on there. That the point is, we do need help. We do need people. And one of the things that people forget about is housing. We are the city, and there's some personal investment groups that are looking at developing housing projects, to your point, because we don't even have enough housing right now for all these things. So there's a lot of plans that are going behind the scenes, like you had mentioned before, to try to get all the pieces in place so that we can have enough support and enough housing and enough workers for all this new growth. Yes.
We're talking to Ed Dowd from the Mattoon Chamber of Commerce today. Ed, I'm going to throw out a kind of a curveball question to you,
Sure.
but I always like to get behind the scenes a little bit. Let's say that Ed Dowd is going to go out today to call on business. It could be Tristan's whatever tire shop. Tristan's not a member right now of the Mattoon Chamber. How does Ed Dowd go in there and kind of try to convince Tristan to join the Mattoon Chamber?
A very good question. So what I try to do, if possible, which is kind of been tough now, I like to go face to face and just if I can't set up a meeting, come talk to Tristan and say, you know what, Tristan, we have a lot of great things happening in Mattoon. The chamber is involved in a lot of things. We have a great rapport with our community. Being a chamber member is a great feather in your cap, and we'd love to have you on board. We already have 325 members. We think it'd be great for you to join our organization, and the power in the group is the big plus to that.
Okay, that's a pretty good sales pitch.
Yeah.
Hey, right off the top of his head, I like that. Go ahead,
And
Tristan.
do you see a lot of businesses, like what are some examples maybe of like businesses helping other businesses in the chamber?
In the chamber, very good question. It's amazing how, that's one thing I love about Mattoon, is all the businesses try to help each other. On downtown Mattoon, even some of the competing businesses, they'll help each other shovel. They helped each other shovel out, from the snow. Little things like that to big things. If they have an issue with supplies or things like that, some of the restaurants, they work together. If they are out of something, they'll contact each other and they'll work together to get the supplies that they need, because they want to keep them going. They don't want necessarily them to have a tough time. So working together, they collaborate on a lot of things. Even though they're competitors, they tend to work together, which is great. And businesses like the banks and stuff, what they did for all the businesses with the small business development grants, with the payroll protection program grants, just helping earn $25 million to keep money locally. So everyone works together, and it's just so great. Again, that's the main reason I joined the chamber, is the volunteer spirit and the willingness of people to work together in our community. So
I know it's more of a school issue, but what do you know is going on with the lift project in the old Consolidated building? Is it coming along? And can you give an update from your perspective?
Yeah, so the lift building, I'm on the committee for that. They're in the process of hiring all the teachers, and it's funny, my wife, who's a teacher at Riddle, she got to have one of the teachers who are going to be teaching at Lift work in her classroom to see how a day-to-day classroom works, because a lot of these teachers aren't necessarily your regular teachers. These are people who are business professionals, who are people who are like electricians, and they need to understand the basics of teaching so that they can, they understand the electronics, and they're going to teach them everything there is to know about being an electrician, but they might not know the classroom part of it. So that's exciting. They're in the process of hiring all the teachers. They're still in shape, on board to get it done by August and to start the classes in August. And just think about that. 25 school districts are going to be coming to Mattoon to have these kids teach there. Again, another pool of potential employees. If we could get even 10% of those kids who come here and learn there to stay in Mattoon and work in Mattoon, that's part of our goal, and that's one of the things I'm looking to do.
Staying on the high school thing, and the high school project for the athletics is coming along.
Yes.
They posted some pictures, I think, about a week to 10 days ago with some drone coverage, and it looks like the athletic fields are coming right along and are on pace to start hopefully this spring for baseball and softball.
Yeah, very exciting. Again, you had to worry a little bit because of the supplies and trying to get things done during COVID, and just getting people to get this work done. But yeah, the pictures are exciting. It's going to be a great field, and it's going to, again, draw people to our community, because we're going to have the facilities that are going to stand out, and people are going to want to come here. So exciting stuff.
Tristan? I'll say one of the things I like about it is that, personally, is next fall, Mattoon football for the last 3 or 4 years had really had a rough schedule in terms of a lot of away games, just the way it all worked out. They've got, I think, 5 home games next year on that new turf field, so you're going to bring a lot more people than usual to Mattoon on a Friday night, where they buy gas and eat and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, and again, they're going to want to check out the new field, so there are going to be more people coming, more people to visit our community.
There you go.
It's great.
A couple of other things. Car dealers are still having a tough time getting cars on their lots. It's really weird when you go by. I said forever. We're lucky in Coles County. We have the Deepol's name, the Pilsen name, and Casey Summers, but all of them have fewer cars than ever before because of the chip shortage and production shortage. Have you been? Are you in contact with like Keith and Jamie and Ron about how they're doing and how they keep everything kind of going forward with this car shortage?
And what's very surprising is all of them have had record or near record years, even though they don't have any inventory on their lots. What they're doing is they're selling them sight unseen in a lot of cases. People are literally buying these cars sight unseen because they're willing to take that risk because they know that it's going to be tough to, be able to test drive, be able to look at these. So they're buying these things before they even get them to the locations. And so knock on wood, again, they've been very lucky. Again, they could probably do even better if they would have had the supplies, if they would have had them in stock. But they're holding their own. They're doing okay with what's going on.
That's good to hear because you worry, but that might be the best news out of this today.
Yes.
The other thing is we've been talking in house and when you talk to your buddies and stuff, that Coles County is one of the few counties with 50,000 people or more that doesn't have its own like brew pub or brewery or microbrew. Has anybody come to you about and talked to you about that, or is there anybody thinking about going that direction? Because that's the one place in Coles County that we do not have.
Yeah, it's funny you say.
And they're everywhere.
It's funny you said it. We've been trying to recruit for a few years now some of the people in the area, like rigs and things like that, and we just haven't had luck. I know that there's a group who's interested. I don't have all the, again, I can't explain all the details, but it only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
This would be a perfect community. Downtown is coming along so well with the revitalization and everything. It would be a perfect place to have a brew pub, a brewery, even a small microbrewery downtown. I think would be a fantastic thing.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. So, is there anything else you're hearing from the community of people saying like, we need this type of business or?
Yeah, a lot of people are always asking. They always want the national chain restaurants.
Panera. That's all they're saying.
Panera, Applebee's, things like that. They're always asking for the national chains, and what they always look at, they look at demographics. They have a specific set of numbers, and we don't fall into those numbers. However, with the sports complex coming, with the potential of having 600,000 people come a year, I think we will start seeing those a lot more interest in those national chains.
And at chambers nationally, are they doing okay as we've gotten through COVID and getting through COVID? I mean, are the numbers good on you and then nationally?
Yeah, very good question. Locally, knock on wood, I think we've built up such a good rapport with our members, and again, everyone wants to work together. We're doing very well. Nationally, there are some chambers who are struggling. They're especially ones where there's a lot of businesses who have fallen off. Again, we are kind of blessed. We haven't lost a ton of businesses in Mattoon or even Charleston, so we're able to keep those numbers up. But a lot of chambers are struggling because businesses just aren't making it in some of the bigger communities. Through the COVID, it's just very tough for them to make it.
Have you ever had a business that's a member of the Mattoon Chamber of Commerce come to you with what they think is a really, really good idea, and you're sitting there going, oh my Lord, this is not going to ever work in this town? And then how do you react, and what do you tell them?
Very, very good question. I've had that with, and I'm not going to mention exactly, but I can tell you it dealt with, and again, I'm not trying to downgrade Bitcoin or anything like that, but somebody wanted to start a business around the Bitcoin craze and everything. And I just think it's too new. And I kind of explained to them that, maybe this might work in a very progressive urban area, but around here, probably not the time. Maybe down the road, it could be something to look at. But very good question. And it was tough because this person was very enthusiastic about this, really thought it'd be a great thing. But it just wasn't. I just don't think that now's the time to, invest in that deeply into that kind of business.
Well, I get it. We have a few minutes left here with Ed Dowd from the Mattoon Chamber of Commerce. Anything from your point of view?
Yeah, one more thing on
Sure.
the sports complex.
Sure.
With the hurdles left to go, is there anything you can outline for us that is still left, or is it just, hey, we're going to hopefully break ground someday? And
Sure. Some of the challenges they're running into is bonding. They have to bond about $30,000 to $40,000, and it's a tricky situation working with the city and Rural King and private investors. What the solution I think is going to be that I'm excited about is, they're not people are always saying, hey, are you going to raise my taxes to have the sports complex? No, they're not going to raise taxes for everybody. What they're talking about doing is having a tax incremental district. In other words, so businesses that are around there, like let's say you're paying 7.5% sales tax. Well, you'll pay 8.5% there, just in that little window of area. And that should help fund it. That's one of the things they're looking at, and that's, I think, going to be what's going to drive it over to make it happen. So.
Are they going to try to do like naming rights for the fields or buildings, things like that as well?
Correct. With different people, with different investors, they're going to use naming rights. That's one of the options that they're going to have, things like that. And and again, not using anybody's tax, not charging taxes, but just a specific sales tax for that area.
Because you look at like a ballpark, there's
Sure.
signs everywhere, and you got 4, 5, 18, whatever ballparks. Every one of them can be named after another business or benefactor. I just said, for sure they were going to do that.
Absolutely.
And then the other question that I have, and I know this isn't really under your purview either, but I know a lot of these sports complexes now do have a liquor license. Has there been talk of that happening, or has that even been brought up? Because that's another source of revenue. Some people don't like it, but it's out there. I mean, at college sports now it's out there. So, and sometimes at youth sports, it's there.
Very good question. That hasn't come up as a question with me, but I will try to find you an answer. I think that's a great question. I know the city is looking at their liquor license rules now because they have so many people who are wanting liquor license who are having trouble obtaining them because they're so restrictive on their liquor license. That might be one of the reasons they're doing that, but I'm not privy to that.
Okay.
So, good question.
Well, that's what I'm here for, right? All right.
Yeah.
Got a minute and a half left. Let's do some odd questions.
All right.
All right. Your first grade teacher's name. You got to answer these two, Tristan.
Oh boy.
Do you remember your
First grade
teacher?
teacher's name, Mr. Erickson.
Mrs. Boyer.
Ms. Boyer. Your favorite college professor, name and class, if you can remember.
Favorite college professor. Wow. Mr. Who was that? He was my constitutional law professor, and I can't remember his. Shame on me, I can't remember his name. I loved that class though.
Where was it at? Where did you go to college?
It was at Northern Illinois.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah.
I went to Northern.
I'm going to go back to my community college and shout out Scott Allen, the Hall of Fame broadcaster.
Oh wow.
And
Very good.
he was a year away from retirement, and so the classes was really easy and it was sports focused, and yeah, he's Eastern grad as well.
Oh wow.
Apropos for this week, Super Bowl winner will be the Rams or the Bengals.
Rams.
You just
I'll
want to
say-
agitate me. You just want to agitate me.
I
Wait,
gotta
you mean
go.
Pittsburgh's not in it?
I gotta go Rams. I think the Rams get it done.
I think the Rams win easily, but I'm obviously very biased against the Bengals. Ed, thanks for being here today.
My
It's always
pleasure.
Thank
fun
you.
to talk to you about business and all that stuff.
Yes.
We'll be back next week with Sasha Holman from Sarah Bush Lincoln Health Center talking about some of the new things they're doing out there, and so it'll be our first time having Sasha on, so we look forward to that. We are WEIU.